Today we're going to be talking about VMware. I love VMware, but I've got some very bad news for you. This is not going to be a happy video, and you'll see why. Stay tuned to the end, and I'll tell you what you can do to make me happier. But let's go ahead and talk about what's been in the news lately. Mainly that VMware has put a big stick right into their own proverbial wheel right after they got purchased by Broadcom. So what I've got on here right behind me is the website. Let me put myself out of the way here. And what you're going to notice is that they go VMware joins Broadcom. That was their announcement, and now relabeled everything to VMware by Broadcom. What does that mean to you, and why is this upsetting me? As you can tell by all the other videos that I've made, not only how to install it, obviously I went through what is VMware, what's a hypervisor, all those things from a hypervisor point of view, from the technical point of view, are very, very important. You need to understand what that is if you're going to be running on-prem or even in the cloud solutions. That type of technology, that type of base that you'll build upon, the foundation of your very infrastructure, really relies on that type of technology. Of course, I'm not going to mention Kubernetes and other things right now because it's not the point of this video. But what does this mean to you? Because VMware was a major player. I recommended it to all my clients. I recommended it to anyone who would listen. I tried to get my wife to use VMware pillows. I mean, didn't get that far for obvious reasons. But the point is, you want to know what's going on because this will affect you in the future. So if you're writing it right now, whether you're using the free hypervisor, whether you're using you're in an SMB environment and you've got 3 servers, like I recommended getting the Essentials, for example, over and over again. Well, what does this mean to you? Nothing good. In fact, when I heard a lot of rumors, I know a lot of people on the inside, both, I'm going to say VMware and other places, when things were transitioning, I heard a lot of rumors, go ahead, purchase licensing now, licenses because something's going to happen. I was actually one of the people who went off and got myself, just in case, some extra perpetual licenses a few months before all this happened, thinking, well, gee, okay, I'm going to have extra licenses. What am I going to do with those? But strangely enough, now I'm pretty happy I did that and sort of caved into the mass hysteria that was building up before all of this transitioned and came to be. So first thing is go to the online store. So if you go to the online store, before you were able to go down, scroll down, and see the products there. And the products included VMware, vSphere, also known as ESXi, Essentials, Essentials Plus. So you're able to go and get solutions there for the SMB space. So if you're small, if you're medium, you wanted one or a few servers, physical machines to run VMware, you would have just gone here, clicked on it, purchased it, it's gone. So that is not an option. Now, it gets worse than that because at first you say, all right, well, I'll still be able to go through the online providers, I'll still be able to get it from somewhere else. And then it really hit me when I received this email. And this email is actually, let me see if I can make this bigger, but this one's from Lenovo. I got a similar one from Dell, and other manufacturers are also sending this out. And really what they are saying, briefly, is it says, they've purchased it, it's impacted them, and it says Lenovo's freezing VMware SKUs in our portfolio. VMware will no longer transact and will not accept orders so starting January 8th, 2024. So guess what? You can't purchase a server from these major manufacturers and say, oh, by the way, throw in VMware on there. So if they haven't all done this, they're all in the process, or most of them anyways, are in the process of just turning this off. Now you'll say, well, all right, that's certainly inconvenience. What does this mean? How do I now get it, and what do I have to do? Well, let's go back here and let's take a look at some of the news. So lately, I mean, this was February 13th, 2024. All of a sudden it says terminates VMware free ESXi hypervisor. So Broadcom has put more, to go back to my analogy, more sticks in their own wheels. So all of a sudden, the hypervisor is no longer available as a free product. Now, by the way, if you like these videos, please give us a thumbs up, and of course, please subscribe. That really helps us out and me out. Being a small content provider, it's a rough job sometimes, so it certainly goes a long way with the algorithms. So having gotten that out of the way, what does this all mean? Well, what that means to me is, if you think about it, one of the reasons why the adoption of VMware was so broad, not only was it a solid product, it was relatively easy to understand and to use. And at the end of the day, you have to think about the fact that because it was being used in a variety of environments, not only from the home labs, which is where the free hypervisor was probably mainly used. I mean, I know some companies that actually put it on and used it. I mean, they had some limitations to it, but again, if you're very small, it probably wasn't a big deal and you probably could have used it. You can do that no more. What I was trying to get to is when you get an ecosystem that has such a variety, where you've got the very, very large consumers of these types of technologies, like the U.S. government and maybe military, those hospital systems, education, you name it, a lot of these are running VMware, and then on top of that, they'll run the Windows servers and the Linux servers and whatever else they're running as virtual machines. Now, because you've got a large pool, you would have third-party products that would routinely go and integrate into VMware. So they use their APIs, they use various methods to integrate into it. I'm not going to go through it, but there's also a wide range of support from a hardware point of view. So for gizmos, network cards, whatever it is, because all those drivers and all those things have to be certified, created, tested, and so forth. What I'm seeing now is Broadcom is literally trying to reduce the number of clients that they're keeping. So they're going to keep the 4,500 core and up type of clients. That's what they're aiming to do. And all the smaller, the SMB space, and even the medium and large, if they're not fitting into this grand scheme of things, they just don't want you to use that product for some reason. I have no understanding of why they would do it this way, because if I were to project my thoughts on this into the future, I think that a lot of the software providers, the service providers, the manufacturers of backup software, maybe security products and so forth, at some point will take a look at the shrinking pool of VMware clients and maybe decide that they no longer want to play in this little sandbox, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to become a very niche market if they're cutting access to a lot of the lower end products that they were selling, a lot of the SKUs. Think about this, and if anybody from Broadcom's out there, the Essentials, which was costing, I don't have the price anymore, but it was $600, $700, $800 at most US, and you got 3 hosts and you got the vCenter for that price. Now, all of a sudden, because that's no longer available, you are stuck literally getting what they call the foundation, and this is so sort of still fresh. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the licensing is all about, but I understand now you need to subscribe, and you won't be able to subscribe to the lower tier SKUs. So you won't be able to get just the Essentials, for example. That was, in my mind, dirt cheap. But they have to keep in mind that when you're very small and you do want to have a server or two, you're already spending for the extra licenses from the Microsofts of the world, Linux support or whatever else that you're adding to it. So a lot of the time, it's not just the VMware. And if you got limited funds, $700, $800 was probably not, a showstopper. Now, if I'm going to tell you all of a sudden it's going to go from $700 to $7,000 per year, and it's not even perpetual anymore. So the perpetual is just off the table. It is gone. You can no longer just install the license key and it's good. Now you're going to put it in, there's going to be a date. And what I've read, and actually somebody already complained to me, but I did not check this out, but if you try the free edition, if you've got it up and running, I understand that if you turn off the VMs, you will no longer able to turn them back on if you've got an expired license on there that no longer works. So I'm going to have to do some testing on that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter certifications, great product, all that stuff. I'm unfortunately in the same boat as a whole lot of you out there, And I think that it's just a matter of pulling the plug on this and moving along to something else. Now, we'll make some videos on alternative products. Obviously, because of my depth of knowledge on VMware and how many times I've had to, diagnose, repair, and work around certain things in the environment, I was very comfortable, with the command structures, with the interfaces, with all of those things. But those days have passed. Unfortunately, I think this rat's jumping off the boat. So it's unfortunate, but things come and go. And of course, now might be a good time to start looking into cloud provisioning some of your servers. Again, if you're very small, you can go to Azure, you can go AWS. There's a lot of different things that you can go to right off the bat if you're small enough that should be able to allow you to run whatever it was that you're running off in the cloud. Hopefully, it's not proprietary. I think a lot of the reasons I was using a lot of VMware in the smaller clients is when you had an ERP system that was maybe very, very industry specific. You have a client of yours or your environment is like this, and you need to have something that is very running, that's maybe a little older. Maybe you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a specific ERP system. I'm just using that as an example, but you want that to continue as long as you can, especially if you've got robotics in there. And let's face it, a lot of industries will not go and change all their robotics every time, let's say Microsoft comes out with a new Windows server, or because somebody's come up with a new type of, USB, something or other. It's, I don't know if I can see, you got a new type of USB, it goes from one type to the other. I mean, look, I still have a lot of clients that use serial cables in their environment to talk to certain pieces of machinery, whether it's a scale that needs to send information back or whatnot. So we evolve, but now it's going to make it more challenging. If you're going to be looking at ripping off the Band-Aid, just changing a VM, a virtual machine, from VMware to something else might not be as easy or as delicate in operation as you would think. In some cases, you may have to go within the VM, back that up, and then restore it to an equivalent virtual machine from a different vendor. Again, I'm going to run some tests, and I guess that's what's going to be our next videos moving forward, apart from everything else I enjoy talking about. So let's, we'll learn together, and hopefully if you've lived through this, thought of this, leave some comments below. I would love to understand how this affects you. What are your thoughts on this? The fact perpetual is gone. Like, are you going to keep running your environment as long as you can? I think some of my clients are certainly going to try to do this. Again, look, I see environments all the time that are still running 6.5, 6.7, and you know what? They're stable. They work well. There hasn't been a huge use to make changes. So at the end of the day, yes, you want to keep secure and you want the latest of everything. On the flip side, like I mentioned, if you've got some legacy pieces in there, you may not really have a choice except trying to lock everything up and keep it as static as possible. So let's see what happens there. So I'm Bob Pellerin, CTOBOB. I hope you've enjoyed this. You can always go to CTOBOB.com, visit us on our website. We'll try to put up some articles on VMware as well. If you're interested in AI, I do have a book. I don't know if this will show. Yes, I do have a book called AI Business Strategies. It's available on Amazon. The link is below. If you like this sort of thing, it reads pretty well. I've got lots of examples in here. So please pick up a copy. Appreciate it. Leave me some comments below if you've read it and what you thought. The comments have been fairly good so far. And if you're into sci-fi at all, I do write sci-fi. I'm looking for encouragement to keep producing more books. I have a couple written. I just haven't released them. This is one of them. One of the first ones that I wrote, 20, 25 years ago, called Death of a Sanitation Engineer. And maybe I'm going to have to rename it soon to Death of VMware and see where that goes. So if you want to encourage me, make me happy, get one of those. That would certainly go helping my writing career. So again, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to all the comments.